You ever have one of those days?
One of what days?
Those days where you can't seem to get it together.
No, not really. I power through every day like a boss.
When the smallest task hits you like a 400-pound charging defensive lineman?
Yeah, no, I eat days like that for breakfast, but I also eat almonds.
Almonds?
Yeah, tiny little football-shaped power nuts with 6 grams of energy-giving protein.
Can I have a handful?
Fine. California almonds. Own your everyday, every day.
Are you hiring? With Indeed, you can post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on your short list of qualified candidates using an online dashboard. Get started today at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast.
All right, people, listen up. We have a big favor to ask, and we promise it won't take up too much of your time. You know our show is supported by some fantastic sponsors, right? Well, we'd love to hear your feedback. Head to podcast.study and fill out a short, anonymous survey. That's it. We swear. Again, that's podcast.study.
How's your Thursday? Glad you're hanging out with us. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN News. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike, to use your parlance, that's a toe tapper.
Yes, it is.
That's a toe tapper, a finger snapper.
You know what I was doing? I was vibing.
You were vibing?
Vibing during that. Cliff helped me out with that word. Wait, I'm vibing. Yeah. You don't play that when I say I'm vibing. I never mind.
No?
All right, one thing we were doing, this, and listen, this affects everybody out there.
I'm not thinking about anything else at this point.
Everybody out there who is flown on a plane, just about everyone out there. We just had Rebecca Lobo on. She was in Washington watching the Storm and calling the game. The Storm swept the Mystics in the WNBA Finals, and we had talked to her from the airport this morning, and she said she was flying out on United and said they were trying to board a different way. They were boarding by aisle seat. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
window.
Right.
No. Window seat, yeah. Middle seat, aisle seat. That's how they were going to board to help with the congestion. You know, we all boarding a plane, there's congestion in there. But you always wonder who's going to be left out in the cold with their bag overhead. So she boarded, and we told her to give us an update, and she did. She said, boarding went smoothly, but this flight is quite empty, so not a good test sample, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. So I tweeted back to her. I said, just give us your opinion. If the flight is packed, how you think it would go, and then what you think is the best way to board.
Yeah, and she responded, I don't know how it can work well when people with, air quotes, status who want to board first generally have aisle seats where more people choose window seats now. And I sort of botched this earlier. I know that surprises you.
Yeah.
But someone sent me an email that said Mythbusters actually did this. Mm-hmm. It was episode 222, airplane boarding. What is the best way to do it? And it was confirmed that boarding back to front is actually the slowest. Boarding back to front took 24 minutes and 29 seconds. The next slowest was random with assigned seats. Business boarded first, then all rows and all passengers were followed to board. That was 17 minutes and 15 seconds. The next one is called Wilma, which was business board first, followed by all window seats, then all middle seats, then aisle, which sounds like what they did, but they
boarded first.
Yeah, that was 14:55.
Okay.
And then Wilma with blocks, which is business boards first, followed by a combination of back to front and Wilma methods. Each zone was boarded with the Wilma method, though starting in the back. 15 minutes, 7 seconds. The reverse pyramid, we're getting really technical here,
we are,
was business boarded first, followed by a sophisticated cascade of zones spreading from the rear. That was 15 minutes and 10 seconds. And the fastest way was no assigned seats. Business boarded first, then all other passengers chose their own seats. So it's basically a combination. If Southwest had first class, this would be the fastest way to go.
Southwest.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Rebecca Lobo has tweeted again. She said, boarding update number 2. Just asked the flight attendant, how's the new boarding system working? To the flight attendant replied, there's a new system? Wish they would have told us. Are you kidding? The flight attendants weren't even told of what they were doing.
That's probably not a good way to have for this to go down.
That is, to me, obviously, there's going to be flaw in every method you do, and the biggest flaw is going to be who's going to get left literally holding the bag by not being able to put it in their overhead compartment.
That is the biggest flaw.
That's the biggest flaw. And you're not ever going to remedy that complete situation. So it's like the lesser of all the evils is what you're trying to do.
Correct. And by the way, Dan Orlovsky has also chimed in because Junior was very upset that parents with kids got to board first. He's like, don't discriminate us because we have kids.
Let me tell you what, one of the worst days was when Sydney hit that age. Sydney is my youngest, is when Sydney became too old to be that kid to pre-board. because that was fantastic. And I get it. I get pre-boarding with the kids. I'm not going to have any issue with that.
No, neither am I. It's just Junior and damn millennial friends.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Well, but I will say that's the most important topic we'll discuss.
Without question, because it affects everybody out there.
Everybody goes through the
out
voting
there.
process. But apparently Stanzik wants us to move on and talk about sports.
Whatever.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Cut down the crowd
Exactly.
Yeah.
Congratulations to the Boston Red Sox, fastest team to 100 wins since 2001. Their 1-0 win of the Blue Jays behind another strong start by David Price gave them their milestone in their 146 game played.
So there's 16 games left. They'd have to win them all to tie what Seattle did. They're not going to do that. They need 5 more out of the 16 to set the franchise record. They won 104, I believe, in 1946. So I'm sure they're going to get that. And listen, everything is on them. I mean, they're the favorites going in. This will be one of those. You know how you always ask if you don't win the championship? You always ask, was the season successful or not?
Right.
So if the Red Sox don't win the World Series, what are you going to say about the season? They are just destroying people so much ahead of everybody else. If they don't win the World Series, would you say that their season was a disappointment?
No, I wouldn't.
I bet every player would.
They would. Look, in hindsight, they'll see the season for what it is. Right away, they'll see it as a colossal disappointment. There's no question about it. But years from now, they'll look back and say, that was one special season we had. Look, the Mariners, the 2001 Mariners, when they won 116 and didn't even get to the World Series,
right?
At that time, I'm sure they were crushed. But I guarantee you go back and talk to every one of those players right now, they'll say, yeah, we were part of something special that season in Seattle. So time will change your perspective.
Time usually heals stuff.
Time will change your perspective on this. It will be a bitter pill to swallow, and making it worse if this happens that way for the Red Sox. This is a matching a franchise record postseason 3 straight years. The other 2 times they pulled that off, in that 3-year time frame, they won at least one World Series. And if they do it now, having done it the previous 2 times, it'll be a disappointment. But to say we did this the fastest in franchise history, 5 years after they stop playing, it'll mean something to them. It won't mean something now, though, if they don't go ahead and seal the deal. Speaking of sealing the deal, that's what Seattle Storm did. They beat the Washington Mystics 98-82 to clinch their 3rd WNBA championship. Previous wins in 2010 and 2004. It is the 6th final sweep, Mike, since the series moved to a best-of-5 format in 2005.
Listen, they owned this one. We just, again, had Rebecca Lobo on talking about this, that she thinks they and Phoenix could be the 2 teams now in the WNBA. It had been Minnesota and L.A. that had been living in the finals the last couple of years. Sue Bird at 38 years old, oldest player in the league. Rebecca thinks wants to come back and play for a couple of more years. And then obviously you have the best player in the league, the MVP, Brianna Stewart, who was also the series MVP. She had 30 in the game last night, averaged 25.7 for the finals to win that award. Also Natasha Howard had herself a game with 29 points, 14 rebounds. She's been in the last 3 finals and won it last year in Minnesota, but coming off the bench, only averaging about 5 minutes or so a game. Here she was one of the main cogs for Seattle in a team that is really loaded with, obviously, Sue Bird, the veteran, but with some of that great youth as well.
Yeah, listen, and again, we talked about it. Brianna Stewart, when it's all said and done, may be looked at history-wise as the greatest player ever come out of UConn history.
Again, understand her college career.
Yeah.
4 national championships. She was 151-5.
Come on.
And 4 of those losses came her freshman year.
Exactly.
4 losses freshman year, 1 then undefeated, 1 loss, undefeated. And I believe she won 2 state high school championships.
Yes. And she also, in those 4 championships, only 1 year was she not the most outstanding player.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
I mean, you talk about Rebecca, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore. We get all of that. They're all legendary players. Tina Charles, all of these players are going to, when it's all said and done, in the long lineage of great UConn women's basketball players, Brianna Stewart may be the one that holds the crown.
She may be. She's certainly off to that start.
Right now, Taurasi's got it.
Yeah.
But it may be a Stewie's when it's all said and done. How about this? If you're wanting Baker Mayfield to be what you want him to be, basically based on stature, he's going to have to be what Drew Brees has become.
Right.
Because he doesn't have the speed or the elusiveness of Russell Wilson or Michael Vick for a shorter quarterback. So for him to be a success, he's going to have to do it the way Drew Brees has done it, which is being really accurate from the pocket.
Right.
Well, the Browns and the Saints play week 2 in New Orleans. Baker's not expected to see the field because it's still Tyrod Taylor starting. But Drew Brees, who has authored 5 of the 9 5,000-yard passing seasons in the history of the NFL, had this to say about Baker Mayfield. Man, he's got all the tools. He's more athletic. He probably can run around better. He's got a stronger arm. He says he's going to be better than me. He's going to be better than me. The two have never met or spoken, but they did attend high schools in Austin that are about 12 miles apart.
Yeah,
Austin,
come
Texas.
on. I mean, Just being nice. Going to be better. Or has a chance, I think he said, to be better than me.
He could be better than me is what he said.
Okay.
You're not buying that?
Come on. Stop.
But that's sort of where look, I get it.
Come on. Don't.
No, this is, I said this when they drafted him. This is my concern. He doesn't have Michael Vick's speed.
No, he does not.
He doesn't have Russell Wilson's speed. I mean, Russell ran a 4.5 40, and I think Baker was high 4.8s, low 4.9s in both of his 40s. And as a defensive lineman, the difference between 4.5 and 4.9 is escaping the rush or getting crushed by the rush. Oh,
absolutely right.
So for Baker at a smaller size to be an effective quarterback, he's going to have to be Drew Brees-like accurate from the pocket.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's the model you're hoping that plays out.
Yes.
Oh, I'm not willing to go there.
No,
yet.
As far as those comments, come on, he's just being nice. I mean, let's just stop.
But that's sort of where, for this to work, it sort of has to go down that track.
Oh no, it absolutely has to.
So that's what you're banking on.
Yeah,
that's a lot to ask.
Yes, it is.
And we're not wishing against anybody.
Listen, and that's the thing about it. When I sit here and may be critical of somebody over another, it doesn't mean I want them to fail. I would love Baker to be a great player, for Josh Allen to be a great player. I don't root against anybody.
Correct.
Why would I?
Correct.
This is all just being an analyst in football of something I did all my life. That's all this is about. So that's nice of Drew to say, but. It means absolutely zero.
Exactly.
Is what it means.
We'll figure this out, and we'll see what happens when Baker gets into the lineup. But the bar is set, and the guy who's saying he can be better than me is the bar he's trying to get.
Yes, he is. He's the bar he's trying to get over.
All right, Golic and Wingo is brought to you by 1-800-Flowers.com. Nothing makes up for your football obsession like a surprise from 1-800-Flowers.com. To order a dozen multicolored roses plus that extra bouquet in a vase for just $29.99. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. Okay. You weren't here yesterday. Obviously, you had a very important health procedure, your colonoscopy. We're glad you did that. More importantly, we're glad that it came back healthy.
Yes, it did. All good.
Everybody, men of a certain age, should make sure you do that. It's easy, and early detection is key in battling colon cancer. So you weren't here yesterday, but we decided we would go all in on the Jacob DeGrom train for the Cy Young, because once again, he did his part, and somehow the Mets didn't do their part. He now has a losing record, Mike. He's 8-9, but his ERA is 1.71. And he's done something that has never been done before in the history of Major League Baseball. 26 straight starts, allowing 3 earned runs or less. So basically, what do you want from your starting pitcher? You want your starting pitcher to go out there and not give up runs, right? He can't control, unless he's going to hit 3 home runs in a game in the National League where pitchers hit. He can't control how many runs the team he pitches for gets, right? So essentially, if you're really being honest with yourself,
he can't control what his team gets.
Exactly.
Right.
If you're really being honest with yourself, as a pitcher, all you want is to limit the amount of runs that you give up. I mean, that's the job, right? Get outs and don't give up runs.
Right.
And he's doing that better than anybody this year in terms of his ERA, and he's doing it over a longer stretch with what we consider to be a very small number, better than anyone has ever done it. 26 straight games, 3 earned runs or less. So we, Junior and I, decided we're all in on the Jacob DeGrom train for winning the NL Cy Young. Other people feel differently about that. So let's sound off on our friend Michael Wilbon. It's brought to you by ADT, considering home security. Consider this. For 140 years, ADT has helped stop more crime than any other home security company. Visit ADT.com to learn more. So on PTI yesterday, which is Michael's platform, he had this thought about Jacob DeGrom winning the NL Cy Young.
If you sit there and get me metrics, I should just stage a walkout of the show.
I didn't give you analytics. I gave you metrics.
Garbage.
Metrics.
Okay? Because if he
see this, Linguini?
If he goes
now it's garbage.
Like 8-11 and he wins the Cy Young, all the people voting for the Cy Young should be dismissed. And they should bring a new panel in and let them vote. Because any body of voters that decides there's something more important than winning and they're going to pin this on numbers, they're an embarrassment, and you join them if you want.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I couldn't disagree more.
Completely disagree with that. I mean, you're basing it all on winning. That, to me, that's crazy. I mean, that has to be part of it, then that's fine.
Yes.
But to base that much, it sounds like Michael basing it that much on winning,
which he can't control.
He cannot
That's
control.
part of the thing that he cannot control.
From the beginning of the season, so he has 9 losses. These are the runs, the earned runs Jacob DeGrom gave up in his losses, okay, for the innings he pitched. Starting from April 16th, his first start, he gave up 3, and these are all his losses: 3 runs, no runs, no runs, no runs, no runs, 1 run, 1 run, 2 runs, 1 run, 3 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, and 2 runs. along with one or two more one runs. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yes.
Ridiculous what this guy has done, and he's getting no backing from his offense at all. If you want to give me a better stat of wins, if you want to just take those two, wins and ERA, and I know there's more that goes into it, give me ERA.
Yeah,
give me ERA. That's the only thing you can control. Oh, by the way, he's hitting pretty well as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the crazy thing.
Yeah. So to me, that's all you can control. And if you're not getting any help from your offense, well, there's nothing you can do about that at all. So
that's not part of his job description.
While I get it, again, 8 wins is a low amount to win, and we know the lowest is 13 two times by Felix Hernandez and Fernando Valenzuela.
Right.
This would be an unbelievable low here with 8 wins. I don't think he's going to win it. I think Scherzer is going to win it. Scherzer leads the National League in strikeouts and in wins. He has 17 wins in the National League. I think he's going to win it. But if Jacob DeGrom won it, I would have absolutely positively zero issues with it at all.
Well, listen, we can even take this one. I'm with you, by the way, 100%. I don't think he's going to win, but if he did win, I think it would be awesome. Because basically what you're saying is, are you the best at your position, right? That's basically what the Cy Young is. Are you the best at your position? The only thing you can control as a pitcher is to limit the number of runs that you give up. The other stuff is outside of your job description. It is not something that you have the ability to harness or shape in any way, shape, or form. Now, you can make the argument that if you're in a bases-loaded situation or you need to get those tough outs, and that's part of it, and you can limit it that way. I get that. But at the end of the day, go out and be the best at your position. And this season, let's just go look at the Major League ERA leaders the last 15 years. Okay, right now, he's at 1.71. Only once in the last 15 years has there been a Major League, not National League or American League, a Major League ERA leader lower than that. Do you know who it was? It was Zach Greinke in 2015. Now, Zach Greinke did not win the Cy Young in 2015. Jake Arrieta won in 2015. But you could make the argument, Mike, and very compelling, and it's not just about wins and losses, it's about how you do your job, that not only could Jacob DeGrom be considered for the Cy Young, he could be considered for the MVP. Just let me explain. In 2014, Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers won the Cy Young and the MVP. His record was 21-3. Okay?
It's a pretty good record, by the way.
Very good record. Yeah. His ERA was 1.77. He averaged 10.8 strikeouts per 9 innings. And his WAR, which I don't really like, was 7.7. Okay? Jacob DeGrom has already made more starts this year than Clayton Kershaw did that year. And his ERA is lower, 1.7 run. He's averaging more strikeouts per 9 innings, and his record is 8-9. So when you look at those numbers, what is the best indicator of where you are as a pitcher? Is it what your team's record is when you pitched, or how well you pitched?
Oh, listen, we're talking about the best at the position, talking about how you're pitching. And I don't think anybody's pitching better than he is. He's second in strikeouts only in the league, only to Scherzer. So, it's not like the only thing he's doing well is ERA. He's got strikeouts. He's not getting the wins, and you're not getting the wins because you're getting no runs from your offensive side, something that you can't control. And I love Michael Wilbon, but to hear him say he's got to do better or he's got to do more, I mean, seriously? Yeah. What?
Yeah.
I mean, what? That's like the Drew Brees argument every year.
Correct.
They put up 40 and they lose 49-40. What? Are you going to say something to Drew Brees?
Well,
you got to do more? Seriously?
Yeah.
Dude's been putting up 40.
I mean, every year, I think every when he averages, over 4,500 yards passing, all these touchdowns, and they missed the playoffs for 3 straight years. It wasn't because of Drew Brees.
You don't look at Drew Brees.
It wasn't because of Drew Brees.
This is where we failed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm somewhat now this. Again, would be an all-time low in wins. We're talking a lot.
Yeah.
We are talking a lot here. 13 games was already like, wow, that's all. Now we're talking about 8. And so he'll get what, maybe one or two more starts in? Is that what we think?
At best, he could probably go 10
maybe
and 9.
Maybe two more starts.
10 and 9 is the best. Is the probably the best he could do.
And even if he stays at 8, if he keeps that ERA down there, right now 171, it's ridiculous. There's only one other guy in the league, and he's over in the American League as far as staying under 2 with an ERA, and that's Chris Sale sitting at 196. So I would not have a problem. I'm surprised that Mike Wilbon is putting that much on wins.
Right.
Especially when you just cannot control that part of it. When you look at his losses, the amount of runs that he gave up, or I should say didn't give up, but couldn't get anything from his teammates.
Look, you and I both have had a lot of fun with second spectrum stats, and sometimes things are a little more chopped up than they really need to be. This isn't that. This isn't some wacky statistic that is, completely, arbitrary. Basically, are you giving up the fewest runs at the job you're supposed to do? And he's doing that. He's doing that better than anybody, and over a season now, he's done something that no one else has ever done. You can't just say, "Oh, don't give me that stat garbage." No. Those are the most important stats.
Yeah, I agree.
As for the team concept of winning is about the team. It can't be about just the starting pitcher because there are so many things that are beyond his control. So, Michael, we love you. We think you're great. We just have a disagreement.
Yes, we do.
And we will move on.
When it comes to hiring, you don't have time to waste. You need help getting to your short list of qualified candidates fast. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. And when you need to hire fast, accelerate your results with sponsored jobs. New users can try for free at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Remember when you couldn't order a ride at the press of a button? Or get online without hearing this? Or get Domino's delivered to over 150,000 unexpected outdoor locations? Wait, what? Introducing Domino's Hotspots. You can finally get pizza delivered right to the beach, the quad, or the dog park. Not at home? Not a problem. Find a Domino's hotspot near you and get 2 medium 2-topping pizzas delivered for $5.99 each. 2-item minimum. Handmade pan pizzas will be extra asked for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit Domino's.com for details on Domino's hotspots.
Golic and Wingo with you, ESPN Radio and ESPN News. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, including our next guest, who, Mike, we both have something in common with that you may not know of. Pro Bowl Hall of Famer Terry Bradshaw joins us on Pro Football Hall of Famer Terry Bradshaw joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. You and Terry have something very similar in common. You have both, for various reasons, decided to bare your butt in very public instances. That's true.
That is true.
You did it with the famous picture, and
Yes,
Terry,
I did.
you hear him laughing, did it in the movie Failure to Launch.
Yes, he did. That's true.
So there you go.
Hey, I saw Matthew McConaughey yesterday, and he said, "Bradshaw, is that you? Turn around, let me see your butt." Bingo.
And Terry and I both work with some of the same people, so it's all a one big happy family. And Terry is
Ira sends his love to you, Trey.
Oh, he sends his love and sends a lot of other things, Terry.
Oh, and also Janelle Miller sends her love to you.
But love them both.
She's right there.
They're all part of the family.
Yes.
And Terry is quarterbacking a new mission with the All About Your Boom campaign to help make sure baby boomers who are 65 or older know about the risk and importance of protecting themselves against pneumococcal pneumonia. We'll get to that in a minute. But, Terry, obviously you are forever going to be a Steeler. What do you make of what's going on in that locker room right now?
Well, there's so much, Mike and Trey, to cover here. First of all, I'm disappointed that they haven't signed him because we are in a league of offense, okay? It's all about offense, and there's no more exciting player, maybe Gurley with the Rams, than this guy, Le'Veon Bell. So I'm disappointed he didn't get signed. He needs to be in Pittsburgh. He'll go into the Hall of Fame if he stays in Pittsburgh. He's that kind of player, special player. And if they're going to win a Super Bowl, they need Le'Veon Bell, okay, plain and simple. I'm disappointed that he's staying out, and they haven't. And I'm also disappointed that the linemen have come out and verbally have said negative things about him, which only leads me to believe, Trey, that possibly he assured them he'd be in last Wednesday. He didn't show up, and that made him mad.
Yeah, it seems to possibly be down that road, though none of them specifically said he was going to be here and didn't show up. I'm like you, Terry, and a lot of former players stunned to hear guys publicly rip another guy, especially on the money side of it, which I've said so many times, Terry, that there's 53 guys in a locker room, and there's never a team, any year that are all holding hands singing Kumbaya together. There are relationship issues in every locker room. I'm sure even in your years where you have so many Hall of Famers and so many championships, but I'm not asking you to talk about specific things, but did you have situations where you had troubles in the locker room, but you guys kept it in the locker room?
Mike, I can honestly say we never did. The only issue we ever had, we had a Mel Blount issue where he held out for a little while. We had a Jack Lambert issue where he held out, but nobody said anything. And we had Ernie Holmes when he shot the helicopter and the Steelers in Ohio. Those are three issues that I can remember. None of them separated our locker room. None of that. We never had anything like what I've witnessed with the linemen from Pittsburgh this week.
Yeah, it's crazy, Terry. I can't remember.
Yeah, it is.
The only time I ever thought about that was when Tiki Barber said something about Michael Strahan's contract, and that relationship has never been the same since then. As Hall of Famer Terry Bradshaw is with us. Listen, it's all, as you said, we're in a league of offense, Terry, and it's all about these quarterbacks. And we've seen a couple of young ones come along in Wentz and Goff and deliver as promised. The next guy that seems to be on that track towards superstardom, even though Golic is trying to douse the fire that we're starting, is Pat Mahomes in Kansas City. What do you make of what you've seen out of him so far?
I watched Pat Mahomes at Texas Tech, and I am not. I fell out of favor with that kind of offensive quarterback because of the spread.
Right.
And so, therefore, I did not give him a really big chance of being successful with the Kansas City Chiefs. I didn't see that at all because that protects the quarterback so much. It's so hard for a quarterback to come out of that college offense and then to go into the NFL and play well. He seems to be the exception. Case Keenum right now, which I thought should have stayed in Minnesota.
Right.
They should have signed him because but their thinking in Minnesota was, well, he's reached his peak. No, he hasn't. He just got it figured out, and now he's going to go forward. Although he had the 3 picks in Denver last week, he still threw 3 touchdown passes. Mahomes is really impressive. I'm real excited to watch him grow from here on. Wentz, when he gets back in there, he's the real deal. I'm curious about Allen starting this week for Buffalo. You're going to learn playing. You're not going to learn standing. I mean, anybody disagree with that?
We're with you.
I don't believe you can. You got to play, and we'll find out how well he handles adversity because that's going to be the trigger. That's the key. Can he handle the bad? Because he's going to have a lot of it. I had a lot of it. Young quarterbacks normally have a lot of it, and then we'll see what happens in Cleveland when the number 1 pick finally gets, what's his name? I already forgot his
Baker
name.
Mayfield. Yeah.
Baker Mayfield. When he finally gets the chance to play. I really do like that kid. So it's an exciting time for the NFL with the new kids at quarterback coming on, and most of them playing doggone well.
You know, I want to talk
and
about
not forget Goff out in the Rams. He was pretty good, too.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the mental side of rookie quarterbacks. We're talking to Terry Bradshaw, 4-time Super Bowl champ, Hall of Famer, Fox NFL analyst. So these young guys, these rookies that are getting in, and I hear it all the time as well, you got to be careful or you'll lose a guy. You know, if you can get him mentally, if he doesn't do well, he could be done for his career because he's done mentally. My thought, right, Terry, had always been, I have no problem playing these guys at an early age, and if I lose them mentally, that means maybe I didn't want them in the first place. What do you think about that part of it?
I mean, and here's my thinking. You're never going to lose them, ever, if, in fact, you have a quarterback coach, an offensive coordinator, and the head coach that are talking to him and explaining, okay, listen, this isn't your fault. We're going to get you a flanker. We're going to get you a split end. We're going to get you a tight end. We're going to get you an offensive line. Don't worry. Just keep throwing. Keep playing. If you're building him up, he'll survive. When I played, I had no offensive coordinator, no quarterback coach. My quarterback coach and coordinator was Chuck Noll, who was an offensive guard. I had no one to go and say, "Hey, you're really good. Let's get a team around you." So I think it's going to take time. But if you have that in place, these kids can survive it. Because the press can eat you up.
Yep.
Eat you up.
Well, listen, the season is off to a great start on a lot of levels, like you said, with all these young quarterbacks out there. But, Terry, we know, obviously, you're here to help people warn against protecting themselves against pneumococcal pneumonia. What more can you tell us there?
Well, first of all, I don't think any of you are 65 or older, which makes me – I am. I just turned 70, so I'm a baby boomer. Pfizer brought me in to do a campaign to spread the awareness of pneumococcal pneumonia for the baby boomers. And I do a commercial. If you go to allaboutyourboom.com, you'll see the commercial. Hey, Golic, it's some of my best work, okay? Some of my best work. You got to check this out. It's a fun spot. It's an awareness campaign and all about pneumococcal pneumonia. And go see your doctor and check out the website, allaboutyourboom.com. All right?
We will
do that for me?
We will do it.
When you get 65, you guys aren't there yet.
Well, we got a few years.
We got a couple years, yeah.
We got a couple years left to go.
I'm holding at 70.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Just keep going. You're 70 again, and then everything works. It's all perfect.
All right, you got it.
Terry, always great to hear from you, my friend.
Thanks, Terry.
guys. Mike, Trey, thank you.
Thanks, Terry.
He's the best. I've had a chance to work a couple times with Terry. He's just
he
exactly
just
the way he is. Yeah.
It's exactly right. He's just going to be himself, like him or not like him. He doesn't carry the way. He's just going to do him.
Yeah.
Good deal. He's phenomenal. Love the guy.
Just a lot of fun to work with. And again, you guys have something in common.
Bared our butts.
Your butts are everywhere. And for that, I'm eternally sad.
Support for the Golic and Wingo Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Let's talk about buying homes for a minute. Because of rising interest rates, there's a lot of unpredictability when it comes to buying a home these days. It's causing a whole lot of anxiety with folks. Well, our friends at Quicken Loans are doing something about it. They're calling it the power buying process, and here's how it works. Quicken Loans will verify your income, assets, and credit in less than 24 hours to give you a verified approval. This gives you the strength of a cash buyer. Then once you're verified, you qualify for their all-new exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, they lock your rate for up to 90 days while you shop. Now here's the best part. If rates go up, your rate stays the same. But if rates go down, your rate also drops. You win either way. It's the kind of thinking you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Golic. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply. Based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data record. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
All right, Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. And there was a game played last night that was really of no consequence as opposed to what happened before the game. And in Humboldt, Saskatchewan last night, the Humboldt Broncos opened up their season Wednesday night in the team's first game since 10 teammates and 6 others were killed in that horrific bus crash over the weekend. The Broncos lost to the Hawks 2-1, the team they were actually traveling to face the night of the April crash with that tractor trailer. And it was an unbelievable scene before the game as the town and the people that were at the stadium basically did it right, Mike. They did everything they could to honor the memory of all the teammates and the players and the people that were lost in that tragedy. It was really quite touching.
And the thing about it is there's no book on anything like this. You know, there's no, let's go to the manual of this, bus crash that kills young men, young women in a, I'm saying in any situation that we look at here, how do you deal with that? You deal with the best you can. You have their thoughts in mind, the thoughts of the families in mind as well, and how you go forward, as the families are the ones that have to go on with this. So how is that all dealt with? So, it's a tough situation. You certainly want to think about all them in mind. It seems like this was handled beautifully. Well, without question, I think.
It really was. And Bob McKenzie for TSN was there and tried to put into summation exactly what it was like and what was the emotion and the feeling in the building.
On our first day here in Humboldt yesterday, a woman came up to me and she said, "Welcome to Humboldt. Please do right by our boys." And then she started to cry. And, I mean, it's not for us to do right by the boys because everybody here did so right by them. On this night, the Humboldt Bronco organization, the town of Humboldt, and all the people that were here, I think they all struck just the right chord for trying to carry on and move on, but recognizing you can't carry on and move on without paying tribute and respect and recognizing the tragedy that occurred and this overwhelming sense of loss. And so to answer your original question, what moment resonated with me, it was when Scott Thomas, the parent of Evan Thomas, came out and spoke on behalf of the parents, because that's the core of this. And that's the hard part. There's 16 families that lost people and obviously 29 that were deeply affected on levels that we can't even imagine. So I think that was it for me.
And to hear him say that woman said to him, "Be respectful of our boys." I mean, these were kids. They were kids for the most part.
It is. And then, again, you have that fine line of you certainly want to serve their memories, but you also want to look forward, right? And keep moving forward. They say time heals all wounds. And listen, that's a general statement that everybody deals with differently.
Yeah.
Everybody. And there's no right or wrong answer on how you deal with it through time. But you try as hard as you can if you are now having to be a part of putting on that game and having that around you. Okay, what do I do? What's respectful of the people that were lost to the families that lost those people, to now moving forward, with the game and with everybody else's lives going forward. That's that's a tough balancing act that I said. There's no right or wrong. You just try and do the best you can to honor those that are lost and the families of that are thinking about, and everybody, the memory of those that died. That is a difficult situation. And that's what you look for. The families that come out of that who lost the players, who lost their kids in that, if they feel that it was honoring their lost ones well, then you take that as a win, because that's who the focus group is there. That's who you're really trying to take care of.
Exactly. And the entrance to the arena last night was lined with pictures of the kids and the players and everybody else who died in that crash. There were 16 hockey sticks that had the green and yellow ribbons, the Humboldt Broncos colors, lined up outside near a green bench with the word "Always in Our Hearts," 29 on that fateful ride. 16 souls died. And so you say, did they do it right? And did it happen the right way? Well, one of the survivors who's now playing college hockey in Ontario, Caleb Dahlgren, said, I think it's a step in the healing process for sure. Playing tonight definitely helps heal the wounds, but it won't heal everything. There's still a lot that needs to be done. And that's the compartmentalization that we talk about, right? You have all this stuff that goes on before the game is played, and you want to make sure that's done the right way. And then you have to sort of flip a switch and actually play the game.
Yeah, you have to play the game. You're honoring those, but then you have to play a game. You have to think about the game. And then, quite honestly, after the game is over, then everybody moves on.
Right.
You go on with your life. You go on to the next game. You go on to the next day. Doesn't mean you forget about them. You take the time to honor them as best you can, given that situation, where they're playing and what it all meant from last year to this year. But then you go on, and you want to find a way to always hold that memory. But that was obviously a special night for it.
I'm trying to remember. Did Jerome Brown die during the season?
No, he died in the offseason.
He died. I couldn't remember whether it was during the season or not.
Yeah,
so
he died
on a much smaller level, because it's 1, not 16. You personally had to sort of figure your way around that.
We certainly had some of the offseason to deal with that. I was so affected. He was one of the best friends I had playing football, without question. And then that's another thing. Now he was now way too young to at the time, in his 20s.
But he was a man.
It's exactly right. These were not, and like anything else, you're closer to some than to others, and it can affect people differently. That one affected me a lot, because we still had to go out and play, those games, while still honoring Jerome. I lost 2 other teammates, but it was after I was done in Andre Waters and Reggie White. So it's dealt with a little differently when you're not on the field anymore. They're still playing games. Guys they played with are still playing games out there. So it definitely can be tough, as you said, to honor the memory, play the game, and then you got to go on to the next day.
Because that's what the players would have wanted you to do. And the Broncos put out a great tweet, said tonight was an incredibly emotional and beautiful tribute to the Humboldt Broncos. Thank you for all your prayers, best wishes, and support for the last 5 months. The hockey family has helped us through this. It's a great day to be a Bronco, and hopefully much better days ahead for not only the team, but all the family members affected by that horrible crash in April. All right, coming up, a former MVP goes under the knife, a record deal for someone whose career-defining moment was overshadowed, and we'll talk to a giddy Jets fan who lives in South Florida and occasionally might call into this program, as he did yesterday.
When it comes to hiring, you don't have time to waste. You need help getting to your short list of qualified candidates fast. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. And when you need to hire fast, accelerate your results with sponsored jobs. New users can try for free at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
You know what's driving me nuts?
That I'm the better looking one?
No. Waiting to check out at the grocery store. When I'm hungry, my instincts kick in and I just want to smash through the line.
Well, you should make things safer for all of us and try almonds. They have 4 grams of hunger-slaying fiber, which can be game-changing, even for a man of your stature.
Not a bad idea. But what if I'm in line waiting to buy almonds?
Stick to the self-checkout and remember to breathe.
California almonds. Own your everyday. Every day.
Are you hiring? With Indeed, you can post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on your short list of qualified candidates using an online dashboard. Get started today at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast.
All right, people, listen up. We have a big favor to ask, and we promise it won't take up too much of your time. You know our show is supported by some fantastic sponsors, right? Well, we'd love to hear your feedback. head to podcast.study and fill out a short, anonymous survey. That's it. We swear. Again, that's podcast.study.
Glad you're with us. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. Our phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We're going to play a little Love It or Shove It.
We are. Look forward to that. We got a football game tonight.
Yeah,
Baltimore
buddy.
and Cincinnati, two teams that got off to good starts. So both 1-0. No color rush, we believe, so we're a little bit bummed
disappointed.
At that. I am as well, but two teams both 1-0. Do we believe in either team? Obviously, too early to tell in week one, but with two good wins each for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's really in it. We'll get into this game a little bit later. I mean, it's not very often in week 2 you have a really interesting interdivision game, right? Because the Steelers stumbled a little bit with that tie, as Hugh Jackson kept saying, a tie. With the Cleveland Browns. You don't know where Pittsburgh is and how the situation is. We have with Terry Bradshaw talking with him, how it's going to work out with Le'Veon Bell when he shows, if he shows, how that's going to play out. So this might be a really good chance for one of these two teams, either Cincinnati or Baltimore, to try and separate themselves.
You want to keep buying into Cincinnati that has A.J. Green. Maybe Tyler Eifert's going to be healthy. Mixon, what he's been able to do. Question mark has been Dalton. They re-signed a couple of guys up front, Atkins and Dunlop, for pass rushing. And in Baltimore, they finally given Flacco some big time, 3 new starting wide receivers this year coming from the outside. So giving that a little more pop to their offense. They always have an aggressive defense. So which one of these teams is more the real deal?
Yeah, we'll go one more step toward finding that out tonight, and we'll break down that game a little bit later. But let's start this hour, as we always do, with what's trending. Not always, but, most of the time.
Sure.
As a rule.
Enough.
We try to.
Enough to say we do it most of the time.
A principle, if you will. Matt Olson homered during a 10-run inning in which the first 11 batters reached base, and the A's blanked the O's 10-0. But, Mike, more importantly, with their 6th straight win, there's just a 1-game separation now between the Yankees and the A's for that top wild card spot. New York lost at Minnesota, which means there is a very real possibility the Yankees may be going on the road now and playing that wild card game in Oakland.
That's all we're playing for right now, is where that wild card game is going to be played. And if you believe in, you always hear momentum as the next day starting pitcher. So do you want to believe that, or do you want to believe teams have momentum? Oakland was 6 straight. The Yankees coming off that 9-game road trip. They finish up 4-5 on that. Going to get, looks like, Aroldis Chapman back pretty soon. With Aaron Judge, we still don't know. So right now, and they still finish up in their last 16 games, 6 of them against Boston, but they're really going to be meaningless games. It's just, we want to say Boston, Yankees, and the Red Sox and go, wow.
No.
But this really isn't that for the 6 times they play. 3 of those are the last 3 games of the season. This is all about, can Oakland catch and pass the Yankees, and I actually think they're going to do that, and this game's going to be in Oakland.
Yeah, listen, if momentum is the next game's pitcher, I don't care what Michael Wilbon says. I want Jacob DeGrom as my momentum guy for the next game pitcher, because I know he'll limit the runs, and then somebody else will have to actually score. That's the problem there. Meanwhile, we got an interesting situation in the NBA, Mike, as Russell Westbrook Russell Westbrook is his name, underwent arthroscopic surgery on that right knee, a procedure that it's going to force him to miss the entire preseason, which is not much for the NBA, and he's going to miss a few games as well. He could miss a few regular season games. They start on October 16th, but again, have it now instead of it linger through the season. Yeah, this is interesting. A lot of times this turns out to just be kind of a maintenance cleanup, and for the most part, athletes usually, as I've always said, for us in the NFL, we would line up in January and get what we would call oil changes. We would get clean outs of our knee or our shoulder because, you get a surgery on something for a couple of times, and then you get those floaters every year. You get somebody to go in and just kind of take them out in your rehab. This took almost, a lot of the offseason to where he was working out. He felt fine. Then he started feeling some soreness and some tightness, and they realized, they wanted to just go clean it out. But it is better to do it now without questions. Had some previous surgeries on that knee as well. So it's something. Understand when you get like a major surgery at any point, or even a surgery, that's supposed to take care of something, and then you're not supposed to do that activity anymore. Correct. Athletes go out and keep doing that activity, so you kind of, you build up even more scar tissue. That scar tissue can break off. As I said, you get the floater, so you have to go in and constantly somewhat repair that thing, even if it's considered minor, though nobody likes to say you have a minor surgery, Andy. It's minor when it's on somebody else. If you need, we just made ourselves feel better by saying it was just an oil change. Exactly. Here's Royce Young, our NBA Thunder reporter, talking about what's happening.
He started feeling some stiffness and some inflammation was kind of popped up in his right knee. And so Westbrook, along with the Thunder, made the decision to try to be proactive with this. You know, I was told that he could play through the season with this sort of thing, but it might have been a nagging injury that bothered him throughout the year. They would have had to manage it. He might have had to sit some back-to-backs. So what they decided to do, again, not an ideal time to do this as the season gets ready to start, but get out in front of it. Go with a preemptive maintenance procedure is the way it was described to me. So that way he's going to miss the whole preseason, all of training camp. The goal is to be back for opening night against the Warriors, but I'm told, Sage, that he is not going to rush back. They're going to take their time because that's the whole idea by doing this is to make sure that Russell Westbrook's healthy for all 82 games.
First, there's no need to rush him back without doubt. And second, it's always a fine line of, do we rehab this or do we go in and take care of it?
Right.
But then the problem is if you're trying to rehab something, you wait a few months and then it doesn't get any better and then you have to go in. Well, you've cost yourself a few months. But you always want kind of the last straw to be actually have invasive surgery, go into somebody's knee or their shoulder or whatever you're going to go into. In this case, it's a knee. So you do try and hold off, but that's where it can cost you time. When you say, let's try and rehab it, the rehab doesn't work the way you want it to, and then you have to go and perform surgery anyway.
Well, that's sort of like Shohei Ohtani's situation.
Yeah,
right?
exactly right.
You try and manage. Well, let's avoid
and
that.
And it's worked before, but you cost yourself some time, and now at this point you're going to cost him next season.
And so
if he decides to do it.
If he decides to do it. We haven't done that for sure yet. And we'll finish up what's trending with, well, she had a moment taken away from her, but this will help.
Yeah.
Naomi Osaka, who won the U.S. Women's Open final, all the controversy around Serena, she was the winner and the better player on the court that night. There's no question. Mike, she's set to sign the biggest deal Adidas has ever agreed to with a female athlete.
It's incredible. She's going to sign for $8.5 million a year. It's going to be announced later today. It would be, as you mentioned, Adidas' biggest deal with a female athlete. With the new endorsement deal, Osaka could become the second highest paid woman this year, above Caroline Wozniacki, and one rung below Serena Williams. So I mean that's where she would jump to with this deal. Remember, she got $3.8 million for winning the U.S. Open, of which she's absolutely outplayed Serena Williams, and now $8.5 million a year. So while that moment, unfortunately for her first Grand Slam,
she'll never have that
will not be a great memory for her. It's only, listen, Arrow's only up on what is she, 12? I mean, come on.
Slightly older than 12.
You got to be kidding me with what potentially could be ahead for her, not winning on the court, but now winning in the endorsement world as well.
I can confirm she's
20.
She's older than 12. She is.
It's a joke. Maybe it was a poor joke.
Joke. I get it. Okay. I get it. I was with you. I was with you all the way.
Bo, could you imagine if she was 12 and got $8.5 million a year from Adidas?
Good for her.
Listen, hey, good luck in college.
Let me be clear. I'm not against anybody getting large amounts of money at any age.
There you go.
In fact, Mike, if I had a standing philosophy, it would be I'm for people getting all the money they can whenever they can.
Get what you can when you can.
And you, who's probably with me on that?
Oh, there's no doubt this guy's with
you. Because I think it's his mantra. By the way, his mantra is getting that without actually doing anything for it.
Yeah.
That would
get
be
what
it.
You can when you can without doing any work
actually
for
putting
it.
in any hard work. Right. That would be our boy Stugotz from the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, who joins us now this morning. Stu, we'll get to what you would do and what you would not do for $8.5 million. I'm guessing it's a very small list.
I don't think we want to know.
No, we don't.
You name it, Trey, I'd do it.
There it is.
You name it, I'd do it.
There it is. So where are you on the Jets hype train right now?
Listen, I don't want to get too carried away and say, the Jets are going to make the Super Bowl this year, but anything short of the AFC Championship game is going to be a major disappointment. Major disappointment. And listen, that was so much fun for Jet fans because you finally have something that Jet fans really have never had, at least not in my lifetime. I don't think. You have actual hope. You can see a game plan. You have a quarterback on a rookie contract, which allows you to go out for the next 4 years and spend a lot of money on free agents, both on the offensive side and the defensive side of the football. And then when you saw it to Sam Darnold after making that disastrous first play, that was so Jets. My God, was that so Jets, the pick six on the first play. But to bounce back like that as a rookie in your first start on the road was super impressive. I mean, I spent the entire evening hugging my dog, hugging my daughters, hugging my wife, running around the neighborhood and just hugging random strangers. And I was telling everyone, I've got a quarterback. I've got a football team because I think I finally might have a quarterback for the next decade.
But you're a Jets fan, so don't you look up and wait for something to fall on your head?
Yes, like he's going to get hurt, or they're going to lose the next 5 games, or, Ryan Tannehill's going to be a lot better than him. Yes, I am waiting. Yes, Mike, this is all too good to be true. Something bad is going to happen, and it's going to happen here in the next couple of weeks. It's why I was getting mad at Trey. Like, I don't want too many people too many credible people. I mean, I can talk about it all I want. I'm not credible. But too many credible people talking about how great Sam Darnold is. That's why I left you the voicemail yesterday, Trey. Keep that name out of your mouth for right now, okay? Let me enjoy my day. Let me enjoy my week and stop jinxing it. Trey, will you knock it off?
Darnold. Here's the best part, though. This is why I love Stu. He said, I'm a Jets fan. I've never had this in my lifetime. Dude, less than a decade ago, your team went to the AFC Championship game 2 straight years.
Yeah, we went to back-to-back AFC Championship games, but there were still questions as to whether or not we had the quarterback, Trey. Like, he handed the ball off 30 times a game. Listen, he made a lot of plays, but that was all defense and running game. And yes, you're right. We had some hope there, back-to-back AFC Championship games. But you remember, I think maybe just a year later, the butt fumble, and they were booing him, telling him to go to hell, and asking Tebow to save him as he walked off the field at halftime. And trust me, we'll do that to Sam Darnold, too. We will do that to Sam Darnold. If at halftime against the Dolphins this week, a big AFC East showdown, week 2, how about that? But if he plays a terrible half and the Jets are down, 23-3 at half, I mean, you'll hear the boos. I promise you, you will hear the boos by halftime.
Any issue with the Buffalo Bills going to another rookie quarterback now in Josh Allen? I mean, it's working out right now with Darnold. I don't know what your view is on rookies starting so early, but Buffalo Bills making that move.
Mike, well, it's interesting. What do you think? Because the offense, at least the Jets have some skill position players. They have some people around Sam Darnold. They do. They have some people. Do the Bills have anyone? Like, the reason they started Peterman, I think, was because they didn't want to put Josh Allen behind that offensive line. Has that offensive line changed at all? It's still a terrible offensive line. So, I don't know. I guess you got to throw him out there sometime, Mike. What do you think about that? Because I find it strange. You don't want to start him in week 1 because the offensive line was so bad. You want to keep him healthy, but Peterman was so bad in the first week. So now you want to start him in week 2? Does that make sense to you, Mike?
Yeah, it's fine by me. Start the clock. I have no idea, because it's one thing to not be good, but it's another thing to not be that good and turn the ball over. You're just really, now Peterman's not the only problem out there. They have other issues as well. They're not going to be a very good football team. I have no problem starting the clock. You have a quarterback, especially behind a bad offensive line, who can move better. Allen can move better than Peterman, so at least he can be athletic and get the hell out of the way and maybe not take as many hits. He does hang on to the ball a little long, but I am a fan of, if your team isn't going to be what you want it to be this year, go ahead and start the clock. Give that guy some playing time, because I know all the people that say have him sit and watch. I'm a believer in you can sit and watch all you want until you get out there until you get out there and face the live, fast defenses. That's when you're truly going to improve. Maybe a little early, but nothing wrong with getting your nose bloodied a little bit.
Yeah.
But Mike, if you're a player on that team, I'm always interested in the player's mentality. If you're a player on that team, do you want Josh Allen you want him now, right? You want to see what that kid has right now?
Well, normally, because that's a great question, because a lot of times if a rookie doesn't start and then you go to a rookie, everybody else in that locker room says, well, we've given up on the season because now we're going to a rookie. The unfortunate part with Peterman, who did outplay Josh Allen in the preseason, and by that merit did deserve to be the starter, just turns the ball over too much. And everybody in that locker room knows you cannot, even if you, especially if you're not a good team, you cannot add to it by turning the ball over. Not to say Josh Allen's not going to turn the ball over, but he will. But my thought is, if you're going to do it, at least get this guy the experience along the way.
Yeah, look, this is, I think we've established that we sort of know what Nathan Peterman is, or what they believe they know what he is. So you drafted this guy for a reason. Might as well start this thing going. Now, many people may not know this. Stugotz, besides being a Jets fan, you're also a Mets fan, correct?
Yes.
So you're cursed, basically.
Yeah, I'm cursed. Yep. Those things kind of go hand in hand. If you grew up in Long Island, Trey, you were a Mets, Jets, Islanders fan. Everyone else was, Knicks, Rangers.
And the Yankees and the Giants and all that kind of stuff. So we have sort of embraced the idea that Jacob DeGrom should win the National League and Cy Young this year because of the amazing things he's done. His ERA is 1.71, by far the best in the bigs. He's had 26 straight games where he's given up 3 earned runs or fewer. That's never happened before in Major League history. Michael Wilbon disagrees with our philosophy that he should win the Cy Young Award, and this is what he had to say on PTI.
If you sit there and get me metrics, I should just stage a walkout of the show.
I didn't give you analytics.
leave.
I gave you metrics.
Garbage.
Metrics.
Okay? Because if he
you see this, Linguini?
If he goes
now it's garbage.
like 8-11 and he wins the Cy Young, all the people voting for the Cy Young should be dismissed. And they should bring a new panel in and let them vote. Because any body of voters that decides there's something more important than winning and they're going to pin this on numbers, they're an embarrassment, and you join them if you want.
Thoughts?
That's what I used to sound like when I said dopey things like that. I used to agree with Michael Wilbon. Like, it's all about wins. Wow, I sounded terrible when I was saying that all those years. Seriously, so according to Michael Wilbon's theory here, or logic here, a guy who goes 17-5 with a 4.8 ERA because his team has a better offense is more deserving of the Cy Young than Jacob DeGrom, who Tim Kurchin told us was the best pitcher in baseball. He told us that last week. He's been the best pitcher in baseball start to finish. I'll go with Tim Kurchin's thoughts on who the best pitcher in baseball is, with all due respect to Michael Wilbon, over Michael Wilbon. Jacob DeGrom has been the best pitcher. If Jacob DeGrom was on the Red Sox, was on the Yankees, was on Michael Wilbon's Cubs, was on a better team, he'd have the wins to go with all those great numbers that he's put up. He is clearly the Cy Young. He deserves it. I don't care how many wins he ends up with. He is the Cy Young. He's been the best pitcher in baseball, guys. There's no debating that. From start to finish, he has been the best pitcher in baseball.
Yep, I would have no problem if he wins it. I think Scherzer is going to win it, but if DeGrom wins it, he would be very, very well deserving of it. All right, Stu, I know you've been a coach. You coach your daughter's lacrosse team, so you have that locker room vibe as well of dealing with players and coaching them as well. Le'Veon Bell comes back into that locker room. What happens with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
You give him a big hug because he makes your football team better. I mean, that's it, right? He makes your football team better. I know Connor had a big game, but Le'Veon Bell is maybe the best running back in the NFL. Him, Todd Gurley, one of those two guys. You give him a big hug and you move on. I mean, Mike, what do you do in that spot? I was surprised to hear some of the Steelers' offensive linemen come after him the way they did. Le'Veon Bell, in my opinion, is doing the right thing. You can make an argument that the running back position is completely interchangeable. Maybe it is, but he happens to be one of the 2 or 3 best. He's only 25 years old, and someone's going to pay him the money that he wants, the long-term guaranteed money that Le'Veon Bell wants. Someone's eventually going to do it, so I happen to think he should sit out until he gets that deal. But, Mike, how would you react if Le'Veon Bell came back week 3? Because, listen, I think a lot of players are upset, right, Mike? Because maybe he made some promises to the offensive line that he would be back, ended up not coming back, but still, that is his money, man, and he's entitled to do. He's entitled to do with his life, his football life, what he wants.
The only thing I'll say about the promises is that O-line ripped him so much publicly, but not one of them said he was going to be here and he didn't. If they went ahead and ripped him the way they did, and that truly happened, I believe one of them would have said it. So I don't know what promises that he made, and I was stunned that they said what he said. The only reason, and I agree with you, you kiss and you make up for the good of the team because everybody wants to win. The only caveat here is, I think, that they all know after this year he's not going to be part of the team anymore. So you're going to come kiss and make up with a guy for X amount of weeks whenever he comes back, and then he's going to move on and you're going to move on. So I think while they may hug and kiss and make up, it may not be a true, hey, we're in this now for the long haul. It's just like, okay, we're going to get together as business associates for the next X amount of weeks and then be done with one another.
Yeah, but Mike, he makes, for this season and this season only, he makes your team better.
Oh, yes, he does.
Those
yes.
guys. Right. Everyone in that locker room has a better chance of making it to winning a Super Bowl if Le'Veon Bell is a part of that locker room. And the turnover in the NFL, Mike, a lot of guys won't be there next year. There are a lot of guys that won't be there next year. So, I don't know, man. Talent's talent. Like, I always welcome talent to my locker room. I don't care how much talent we have.
I agree with that.
Yeah, if you're talented, we'll take you. Let's go.
And he is extremely talented. And Connor played great, but Dan Graziano did a great article on .com this week about the hidden things that were lost in Le'Veon being there, how you defend him and how you wouldn't defend Connor. All right, Stugotz, always a pleasure to have you on the show. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Stu.
All right, guys. Thanks.
By the way, I thought I was going to be distracted all day by the boarding process that Rebecca was going through on the plane. I've just seen something else that scares the hell out of me, and I may never go back to one of my favorite places on the planet.
Oh, this isn't about boarding a plane?
No, it isn't about plane. But if this was on a plane, it would be the worst thing that could ever happen to you.
When it comes to hiring, you don't have time to waste. You need help getting to your short list of qualified candidates fast. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. And when you need to hire fast, accelerate your results with sponsored jobs. New users can try for free at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Support for the Golic and Wingo Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Let's talk about buying homes for a minute. Because of rising interest rates, there's a lot of unpredictability when it comes to buying a home these days. It's causing a whole lot of anxiety with folks. Well, our friends at Quicken Loans are doing something about it. They're calling it the power buying process, and here's how it works. Quicken Loans will verify your income, assets, and credit in less than 24 hours to give you a verified approval. This gives you the strength of a cash buyer. Then once you're verified, you qualify for their all-new exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, they lock your rate for up to 90 days while you shop. Now here's the best part. If rates go up, your rate stays the same. But if rates go down, your rate also drops. You win either way. It's the kind of thinking you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Golic. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply. Based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data record. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
All right, Golic and Wingo here with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Before we get to Bubba and do Love It or Shove It technically, I've seen something on the internet that I can't unsee, and it needs to be shoved as far away from me as humanly possible. It's a video of a pair of fighting snakes that have fallen through a family's bedroom ceiling in Brisbane, Australia.
Oh, yeah.
And someone is narrating it as, we have our first fighting snakes of the season. Here's what they're doing, blah, 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 blah. It is terrifying.
Yeah, it's on their floor. Came through on their floor from the ceiling, to which my daughter quickly tweeted, burning down my house and starting every aspect of my life over if this happens to me.
I just tweeted, welcome to hell.
I mean,
this is my hell.
It's unreal. And these aren't little tiny snakes either.
By the way, everything in Australia is poisonous. Let's be clear.
That's exactly
I was there this
right.
summer, and I love Australia. I don't think I'm ever going to Brisbane because of this video. It is frightening beyond belief.
Agreed.
All right, so I just had to get that out because it really shook me. As does seeing Bubba in here every once in a while. He kind of shakes me up as well. Bubba, how are we?
Doing all right.
You ready for a little Love It or Shove It? Brought to you by Granger?
Granger, yeah. No, I was thinking because I got the call yesterday from my agent that you guys want to do this today, and I thought, yeah, of course. First day fall book, they want ratings. So, no, I get it.
Your agent?
Agent.
Yeah, I'd rather not say.
Does he have a name?
Of course he does, yeah.
Is it real? Is it mythical?
Yeah, so he calls and sets up the whole thing. And he said, the guys need you Thursday. I'm like, first day fall book.
Right.
Bring in ratings Peregrine. Let's go.
Wow, there's Cliff just raining on your parade right there, hitting the button.
Like anyone cares what Cliff says.
Wow! The feud continues. All right, go ahead. Let's go.
All right, we got some questions here. Mm-hmm. This is the year the Bengals will win a playoff game. Love it or shove it.
Wow. I mean, I do like what they look like with their defense. Weapons on offense and their defense as well. I do, but I don't think I can go that far. I mean, am I going all the way to winning a playoff game? You know, Andy Dalton, we see the good of Andy, we see the bad of Andy. I don't think they're very deep. We're still banking a lot on Tyler Eifert being healthy, which is something that he hasn't been able to do the last couple of years. I can't book that. I'm going to have to shove it. I can't. I'm mixing two things.
You cross-pollinated.
I did.
I don't care if you can book it.
I'm not booking it.
I could care less.
I'm not booking it, and I'm shoving it. They're not going to win a playoff game.
All right.
I want to love it.
I really do
want to love
it.
But I need to see more. I got to have more. So at this point, I'm going to have to shove it because I don't have enough material on which to grade them.
All right. The Bills are making the right move, starting Josh Allen. Love it or shove it.
Well done with the quote-unquote right move, something that
am pipe.
Their coach said 14 times within a minute or in his presser about this move, the right move. I love this. I'm fine with it. I have no problem with it at all. It's a team that is going to be hurting this year. He's actually a more athletic quarterback than Peterman is, and with that offensive line struggling, he's going to have to move a little bit more. He's going to have a lot of downs and some ups. There's no doubt about that, but I never have a problem with starting the clock on a rookie quarterback, especially with a team that really doesn't have a lot looking toward the postseason this year like they did last year when they made it into the postseason. So I love this.
Here's the deal. I don't know if it's the right move. It's their only move. I mean, it's their only move. Nathan Peterman is not going to be the answer. I think we can all agree on that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Is it it has to be the right move because it's their only move. So yeah, I'm gonna love that one because they really have no other choice at this point.
Forget about the Cy Young. Future Hall of Famer and all-around nice guy, Jacob DeGrom should put it in the books.
You put it in the books.
Nice. And win the NL MVP award.
Oh, the NL
The
MVP.
NL MVP award. Love it or shove it.
It's interesting. There really isn't a clear-cut favorite in the National League. I think what Javi Baez were saying is like the betting favorite. You have Matt Carpenter. You have Arenado and Story from Colorado. I don't know if I'm going to go that far, though, and say MVP. I could easily see him winning the Cy Young, but I'm not. No, I'm going to shove this one as far as the MVP award.
Yeah, I'm going to have to listen. First of all, let's put the numbers out there just so people understand.
Yeah, let's
one
get
more
the
time.
Numbers out there.
Clayton Kershaw won the Cy Young and the MVP in 2014. He had 27 starts, an ERA of 1.77, and struck out under 11 per 9 innings. Jacob DeGrom this season already has 2 more starts, a lower ERA than Clayton Kershaw had in 2014, and is striking out more per 9 innings. I'm going to have to shove this. By the way, we are all in on the Jacob DeGrom bandwagon for the Cy Young. We are all in.
Jacob DeGrom for NL Cy Young 2018.
Yes, that's us. We're in it.
We are on the bandwagon, but I'm going to shove the MVP award.
It's a questionable bandwagon, but I guess.
This entire segment is questionable.
Yeah, pretty much.
Except for Granger, because they're the ones that get it done.
They're great.
They get it done.
Great guys, yeah. Do you have a Granger Live read coming up later? Let me know. Ohio State will lose to TCU in Dallas on Saturday. Love it or shove it.
Yeah, last game of Urban Meyer's suspension. They're 13-point favorites. I can't. I'm going to have to shove this. I don't think they're going to lose. This game is in Arlington, AT&T Stadium. So neutral site, even though TCU is in Texas and Ohio State isn't.
Is not in Texas.
But I like Ohio State in this one. I don't see him losing this one, and I don't think the Urban Meyer suspension is affecting the team at all right now. He just can't be there on game day. He's there doing everything with the team during the week, so I'm going to shove this one.
Yeah, I'm going to shove it too. Ohio State's been very impressive, and I don't think they have any interest in letting off the gas. Now, look, TCU is a pretty good team.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're on Ohio State's level right now. So I would have to shove that one as well.
Also, I'll just do your job. We'll have TCU head coach Gary Patterson on the show tomorrow, 9:05 a.m. Eastern. So
excellent.
Good job out of you
for that. Yeah.
Well done.
I mean, someone's got to host.
Well done.
Baker Mayfield will be the last of the first-round rookie quarterbacks to start this season. Love it or shove it.
I'm probably going to shove that. I would say, and
These
now
are
again,
terrible love it or shove it that you came up with. I just want you to know that these
Wow.
are the worst you've ever had.
wow.
Why would you say that?
Why? Yeah. Why would you
it's
say
true.
that?
I mean, A, it's not true.
Yeah.
B,
Yeah.
grow up.
Yeah.
C, Granger.
There you go. Because they get it done.
Well, congratulations for today's non sequitur, but continue.
I'm going to shove this again, barring injury. You never know what's going to happen, but it would be Lamar Jackson,
Right.
From Baltimore. So I think Baker, Tyrod Taylor, even though they had the tie and it's better than a loss, he was 15 of 40. Certainly there were struggles there.
There were a few missed throws.
Yeah, there were.
No
So
question.
I'm going to shove this one because barring injury, I think Lamar Jackson would be that person.
I agree. I'm going to shove that one as well. And again, I think that both Hugh Jackson and John Dorsey have a plan that they have in place for Baker Mayfield. And I don't think any other rookie quarterback, what they do or what they don't do, is going to alter that plan. I think they have how they want to work it and how they want to see it play out. And I don't think they're going to alter that. We don't know exactly what that is. I think we'll see him at some point this season.
Yeah, we will.
But I would agree with you. I think of all those to start, barring an injury to Joe Flacco, I think that Lamar Jackson would be the last. So I am going to shove that one.
The loser of the Giants-Cowboys game will finish in last place in the NFC East. Love it or shove it.
I do think one of those teams is going to be last because I think Washington is way better than people are giving them credit for.
Agreed.
I still think Philly is the
So
favorite.
the Giants will be last. Got it.
So
Cool.
I'm going to love that. I'm going to say I'll go and love it because one of those teams is going to be. So why not just pick the loser of this game, which of course you think will be the Giants losing this game because you're a Dallas Cowboy fan.
I'm going to love that one as well. And again, we can get into this tomorrow when we go through all the games. We got the game tonight. But going 0-2, I get it. The Saints made the playoffs last year going 0-2. Going back to the start of this current playoff format in 1990, you start out 0-2, your chances of making the playoffs are 8%. 8%.
Plus, let's look at that 0-2 Saints team. You have Drew Brees, who puts up all kind of numbers on offense, and their defense played exceptional last year. Neither one of these teams compares to what New Orleans was last year offensively and defensively.
No. So, yeah.
I thought it was a good last question.
That was a
Bubba,
great.
so
you saved the
I thought
segment
it
with the
was,
last question.
Yeah, no, that was a good question. They were all pretty good, yeah.
Now, quickly, because
Okay,
clock
sure.
integrity, give us the billboard.
Yeah, no, fall book for sure. Love It or Shove is brought to you by Grainger, the products and services you need when you need them. Grainger's got your back to help keep your facility running. Grainger, for the ones who get it done, like me and DeGrom.
We're all in. We're all in on the DeGrom bandwagon. Coming up, week 2 is here. We got a huge divisional matchup tonight, but no color rush. We'll deal with that disappointment, Mike.
Remember when you couldn't order a ride at the press of a button? Or get online without hearing this? Or get Domino's delivered to over 150,000 unexpected outdoor locations? Wait, what? Introducing Domino's Hotspots. You can finally get pizza delivered right to the beach, the quad, or the dog park. Not at home? Not a problem. Find a Domino's hotspot near you and get 2 medium 2-topping pizzas delivered for $5.99 each. 2-item minimum. Handmade pan pizzas will be extra asked for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit Domino's.com for details on Domino's hotspots.
As soon as this weather breaks,
Flip-flop Fridays, baby.
Are you kidding me? Thong Thursday?
Okay, no.
I mean, absolutely.
No.
Wear the thong.
People are eating.
Oil up. And in all honesty, I don't have a thong on. They just had the procedure yesterday, the colonoscopy. I don't have a thong. I'm not wearing any underwear today. Golic and Wingo brought to you by 1-800-Flowers. Nothing makes up for your football obsession like a fresh and beautiful bouquet from 1-800-Flowers.com to order a dozen multicolored roses, plus an extra bouquet and a vase for just $29.99. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter the code WINGO.
Yeah, buddy. All right, I appreciate the update there.
Okay.
Very important.
How I roll today.
Very important. Well,
Feeling good.
There is some rolling that's going on. There's no question about it. All right. Just a thin piece of gabardine.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a game tonight.
Yeah, we do.
And it's kind of interesting because usually those first few Thursday night games on the short week, they don't have, I don't think, the significance, Mike, that we may have tonight between the Bengals and the Ravens, both coming off wins week 1. One a road win for the Bengals where they had a great defensive play late to hold off a hard-charging Andrew Luck Colts team. And really, maybe the most impressive win of the entire week 1, was what Baltimore did, granted to an inferior opponent
right.
in Buffalo, but that's what you want from a good team. When you have a bad team and they're down, stomp on them.
Here's the thing about the two teams to me is, with Cincinnati, it's we're waiting to see if this team can do it again. Basically with the same parts, right?
Yes.
A.J. Green. Hopefully you have a healthy Tyler Eifert. You know, Joe Mixon, another year now of what he can do between running and catch the ball in the backfield. Your defensive pass rushers who have been teammates for 8 years and both got deals in Dunlap and in Atkins. In Baltimore, their whole receiving crew is new.
Yep.
You know, they brought, this is one of those where you bring in guys and you try and revamp an offense and you try where in Cincinnati, it's a lot of the same people. You're trying to infuse new players into the system in Baltimore. And certainly for week 1, it worked against an inferior team in Buffalo. But that, to me, you know, is that big question of bringing in, you know, the Willie Sneads of the world, the Michael Crabtrees of the world and such.
Yeah, and
seeing
John Brown.
Right, and seeing how they can get themselves, you know, put into this offense. Because you know what you're getting there. You know you get an aggressive defense. That's never going to change under John Harbaugh. But offensively, you were saying, where's the firepower? They don't have that firepower. You know, you have a quarterback that certainly has the arm. That's what he is. He is a pure pocket passer that wants to get the ball down the field, and they never had really those multiple heavy hitters, which you're hoping you have with this crew of guys this year.
Well, it was interesting, too, in that week 1. I mean, it went so well for the Ravens in week 1 that they basically said midway through the third quarter, Joe, take the rest of the day off.
Yep.
I mean, that's how good it was. And those new parts that we talked about, that you just mentioned, with the Ravens, specifically their receiving core, I mean, they all came through in spades. John Brown caught a touchdown pass. Willie Snead was very significant. Michael Crabtree caught an unbelievable ball with a toe tap in the back of the end zone. And it makes you wonder, because they've tried a couple of years to draft wide receivers, and it hasn't worked. Really, ever since they let Torrey Smith go a few years ago, there hasn't been a home run hitter or since Steve Smith left, really a reliable receiver for Joe Flacco. So now they're finally past getting over the Smiths, for lack of a better term, Torrey and Steve, and you have these weapons around Joe Flacco, and lo and behold, it's magic. When you give a quarterback better receivers, it's amazing how much better he can play, right?
Yeah, and you look at these guys, 4 receptions for Snead, 3 for Brown, 3 for Crabtree, so by my quick math, that's 10 receptions out of those 3 guys.
You were always good with quick math.
And they each had a touchdown as well. You throw in the fact that Max Williams and Mark Andrews, that big rookie tight end, for them because Hurst, the first rounder, the tight end, he's got hurt for them, the kid out of South Carolina.
Yep.
But they love a tight end in that offense as well. So
that's the kid out of Oklahoma, Andrews, right?
Andrews, yeah. So and Williams, they've had for a couple of years. He came out, I believe, from Minnesota with some high praise, but they wanted a lot with the Hurst this year. Again, as I said, he got hurt though. But they love a tight end in that offense. So if you have 3 receivers you can go to, plus you mix in that tight end. Let's see where this offense can go. Maybe this is going to be the best weapons they've had in a while. Still too early to tell. Still mixing in with the new group here. But for week 2, it's a hell of a game.
Yeah, it is.
We have some really good division games that we'll get into tomorrow. Some not so good division games, but this is a good one right here for anybody that think they may to find a team that's going to possibly push Pittsburgh.
Right.
Is a team going to be able to do that? It's going to come. It's not going to be the Cleveland Browns.
No.
It's going to come from one of these 2 teams.
Well, listen, the Ravens last year were a late touchdown pass from Andy Dalton, ironically enough, away from making the postseason, which allowed the Bills to sneak in as the final wild card last year. I think people are thinking that this is this Ravens team can be a lot more productive than we've seen the last couple of years. This game's on the road, though. It's in Cincinnati.
Right.
So who do you like in this contest?
Man.
I think I got to go with the home team.
I think I might lean that way as well. I think this is about as close to a push-em game as I can get in looking at it. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Cincinnati.
I think I will lean. Now, would it surprise me if Baltimore won?
No, this one isn't going to be unless it's it's another 40-0 game. It would surprise me. I think this has a potential to be a good game.
Yeah,
I really do.
And the thing that I really am interested in Cincinnati, we saw flashes of it in the preseason, and maybe a little bit in that week 1, and that's John Ross.
Yes,
the first round draft pick a year ago for the Bengals that really did nothing. I mean, essentially did nothing in his rookie year for a variety of reasons. But he's a guy, Mike, if they can find him in the right matchups in the right situations, he is going to be trouble.
Yeah, you look at him to take the top off, possibly. Now, he only had 1 catch for 3 yards, but by the way, it was a touchdown.
Correct.
So that certainly helps when you can get in the end zone. Tyler Eifert seemed to get out of the game unscathed, had 3 catches. Averaged about almost 15 yards per catch. We'll see if he becomes that threat in the red zone he was a couple of years ago. And then, of course, you always have A.J. Green.
Yeah. John Ross, to me, is the guy with Mixon that can give that Bengals offense new life. You know what you're getting in Adrian Jeremiah Green. You know what Andy Dalton is, and maybe more specifically, you know what he isn't. So you know what to expect with Andy Dalton.
The thing about it with Andy Dalton, he has the players around him to get it in their hands, let them make the plays.
Correct. And Mixon and Ross have talent,
big
and
play
speed
potential
to burn. So a home game after a big one where the defense stepped up late because Sean Williams was ejected. The backup safety came up with a big hit to dislodge the ball from Jack Doyle and then pick it up and really seal the win. I'm looking for that Bengals offense to show out a little bit tonight in Cincinnati. We'll see how that plays out. So again, week 2 starts tonight. Coming up tomorrow, it'll be a tale of 2 Teddys. We will have both Teddy Bruschi, Teddy LeCap Bruschi, by the way, and Teddy Atlas looking ahead to the big fight in Las Vegas.
I love Teddy Atlas.
We get Teddy fired up.
Love having him on. He's great.
Plus TCU's head coach, Gary Patterson, will join us, which will be a huge Football Friday. We will talk to you tomorrow.
Remember when you couldn't order a ride at the press of a button? Or get online without hearing this? Or get Domino's delivered to over 150,000 unexpected outdoor locations? Wait, what? Introducing Domino's Hotspots. You can finally get pizza delivered right to the